one here was a revitalization of an urban district like in Shanghai that is directly north of the old city, like in Shanghai. And then the master plan came to us as this was a way to look at what they call the pushy side of Shanghai, because there's two sides. There's the Pudong side, which is the Blue Drossery, residential zone, which is where all the super high-rise that are like being built now. And then the old part like of Shanghai like, is on the pushy side, which is on the other side like, of the river, which is where the city has historically been, like developed, like over the like last few centuries. And the idea was to look at an area like of that area that hasn't yet been transformed, and how it could be transformed to accommodate, major financial businesses to really bring Shanghai to be competitive like on the global marketplace with New York and London, for instance, to attract these businesses. So then the idea was that, well, let's look at this as also as a model as to how this new district could become a model, for an appropriate approach as to how major cities like Shanghai should redevelop themselves. So the idea was to really build on this site unique like history, which is very, very rich, and also really promote an approach to development that really encourage walking, transit, and high density around transit, basically, and the preservation of historic buildings. So what we did is to look like at the area and do a full inventory of all these historic buildings and all the historic pattern, and integrate this into the master plan itself. Really work very hard to kind of link the site with all the kind of adjoining districts and really promote walking as a true alternative way to get to the site and then to really like a joint area, and then to link basically large new development like in Shanghai up to the waterfront. And the idea was to again create what we think is what is required to really make people walk, is to make great street, great retail street, like a lot of activities, and also create like a mixed-use district that is not only single-use but it is mixed, that encourage a lot of historic preservation, that bring like culture and retail and housing as well as office district, and promote office district, especially centered around the transit, like the new transit like station that are built like in Shanghai, to really promote what should be a more responsible way to like develop that part of the city, and to restrict greatly parking, to basically have no parking allowable like in the area for all this new like, development. So the idea was to really encourage like a more kind of sustainable way to look at our city should be developed. And then the third project, which is very close to home here, like in Stockton, and it was for the master plan for a site that is just at the northern edge of the city, and basically, like Stockton was voted like last year as one of the most miserable cities like in the United States. Is doing terribly bad, like with all the like more, like mortgage kind of defaulting, and has a very hard time to attract basically the businesses like an investment. And so, but there's a lot of assets. Like the city is very kind of unique. Like it's one of the few cities like in the Central Valley that there's a deep port, is extremely well served in terms of public transportation, will be the host of the high-speed rail stop, when this gets implemented. But the city has developed like over time from a central core into this like enormous sprawl, just like Bombay in a way, but in a different scale. But it goes on for a very long distance, and it's mostly single-use sprawl again. It's all single-family homes that grew from a central core. So then we were asked to then look at how the city could fix itself. There was two major laws that were passed in the state that are, that really help to kind of refocus like how these places need to develop. And both of these are really targeted to reduce greenhouse gas production, and also to really promote transitory development as well as smart growth. And so quick studies like of Stockton showed that 73% of their greenhouse gas production came from transportation, and most of it is from private cars. And what was interesting is that most of it is really caused by by daily trips. And what was interesting is that when we look through the analysis again, is that, and I forget the exact number, but something almost half of the daily trip are done to just deal with daily needs, shopping for milk or to take your kid to daycare or whatever. And so it was very interesting to see how, when you look at how this, like these places develop, a lot of the problems that we're creating are just because like our cities are not well planned basically, and then like Stockton, as if it keep going the way it is, will be this enormous sprawl basically that will be very low density and kind of single use. So one thing we did first was to look at the city as a whole and see how we could really promote the idea of like what we call complete districts, and so to go in and to promote infill development in the key districts of the city that will both help to redefine, like these districts are having a true identity, and to also promote the idea that one should be able, within a 5 to 10 minute walking or bicycle distance, to take care of all of your daily needs, or most of them, so that you don't have to drive, but you can walk or ride a bike to take care of all these needs. And then the idea then is then how do we deal then with North Stockton, like with the site that we were asked to look at. So then how do we deal with this? Because we have this very large amount of kind of single family homes. So do we just accept this as a fact and just kind of turn our back to it? Or do we go and like try to fix it? And so, and as I often say, like a lot of the work that we do as urban designers is like being plumbers. Like we often call to do major kind of repair work like in cities. And so that's a bit what this project was about. And so we look at this site like in the North Stockton, and we work with a group from the UK called Bio Regional, who is promoting the idea of one planet principles. And then the whole idea is that we want to develop places or like cities based on the fact that we should be able to use like resources of one planet. If we live the way that currently typical American families live, we need something like 5.2 planet to really kind of sustain us. If we live the way that, let's say, that the Europeans live, it's probably more around 3.5 planets. And the goal is to try to bring us up to, like more in line, we live within our means, basically. And so we really use these principles to apply like to how we can develop like this plan. And then we basically look at the old plan that was proposed for the site, and now we like develop this plan using these principles, and now we kind of develop like the old plan. And we could come up with a 50% carbon reduction, which included a large amount of carbon sequestration, as over almost half the site was devoted to open space, like including wetlands. And also we brought like the idea of like a food production like into this plan. So like, this gives the three basic principles as to how the open space was integrated like to the plan. So we brought a large amount like of wetland, which helped us to deal like with with major storm like water kind of retention on site, as well as carbon sequestration. We integrated like agriculture into the plan itself, which will allow us that within this area we could provide food for up to 10% like of the population, which is a start of a city. And then if you look at the bio like region like for for where the site sits, then we could probably take care of the entire thing. And we link it up like less so like with the rest of the city. And we brought a bus rapid transit kind of system that was an extension like the city kind of system like to the site to really promote transit. And then the idea is that new district became the district center for like for North Stockton. This shows some of the principles how the plan was developed. We cover a series like of walkable like neighborhood, as well as the transit kind of like linkages, and how the plan eventually evolved like with the integration of open space and food production areas. So to conclude is what I did like is to kind of tweak the talk a little bit to say that the way that I see like the adaptation to like sea level changes and to climate changes, that we have to adapt the way we work. And this is and so this shows some of the projects that we've been involved to help us rethink it. And now we really need to embrace our cities as they are what will kind of sustain us and make them very kind of sustainable for the long-term futures. Thank you.